What up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Crypto Tips. My name is Toby, and that is beautiful Heidi.
Aw, you're so cute.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into this.
Yeah, so this is episode 21 of our AMA sessions. As always, these questions were submitted to us by our CT Club members. So thank you, everyone who participated. We are loving it. Yeah, let's get right into it. First one. Profit taking was a bit of an Achilles heel for me the past few months. Done well, but could do better. What were your main challenges with profit taking earlier on? Looks like the euphoria is getting me, and I struggle to sell when it hits. Even when I do, I sell just 10 to 15% instead of a more aggressive 25% sell points. Do you think having a rigid profit taking checkpoint would be better for me instead of a dynamic one to detach from emotions? So first, let's address that first question because I think it's interesting.
Sure.
What were your main challenges with profit taking earlier on? Well, we didn't do a whole lot of it. I mean,
Like
honestly.
earlier Bitcoin?
Yeah, like
Bitcoin?
earlier on in our experiences.
Oh,
as
well,
markets.
there was nowhere to really take your money out of. I mean, is other than US dollars when Tether came about, and that was where we put some in there, but there wasn't like lending platforms and
No.
USDC and BlockFi and all those other
Yeah.
great things, and there wasn't DeFi or anything. So yeah, this was that was really hard because we thought, oh yeah, some of these alts are going to do really well.
It's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like with any new investors, that's going to be your experience. You're not going to have that hindsight. You're not going to have that experience of markets move in cycles, prepare yourself, whatever. So we have learned those lessons, and we're passing on the knowledge that we learned through going through it ourselves by not seeing the science properly and taking profits when we should have.
Yeah.
I think it's something a lot of people are going to go through, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it turns you into a hodler of last resort at some point.
Sure.
So
Makes
it
you
will
have
benefit.
diamond hands.
It will benefit you and turn you into. Okay, anyway. This last question is talking about: do you think having a rigid profit-taking checkpoint would be better instead of a dynamic one to detach from emotions? Yes, absolutely. This is one aspect to having an investment plan, which is actually going to be a class I'll be holding in the next couple of weeks. I'm still organizing it. I figured I should do a class on this because an investment plan is something that everyone should have. It should be, everyone should have this if they're investing in anything. You should have goals for yourself that you want to meet. You should have your time frame lined out. You should have the amount of risk you're willing to take on, all of those things. Anyway, if you're in the CT Club, which if you ask this question, you are, keep an eye out for that class. I'll definitely be making an announcement for it. But anyway, absolutely, have a rigid profit-taking checkpoint, because then if you're taking profits, are you really, I mean, come on, you're going to be walking away with profits. Are you going to be really disappointed? Hopefully the FOMO doesn't kick in too much, but also that's what the investment plan is all about, is like having a goal. Okay, your goal is met, great. Let's achieve it. Let's pull the trigger. Otherwise, what are you doing? You know what I mean? It's like, you don't just want to have like a bigger pile for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we also have a video series. It's a class as well as a playlist here on this YouTube channel. It's a class on our Patreon group for profit-taking strategies. And we talk about little things you should think about when you're taking profits, if that's kind of beyond point here. Next question. Hi there, guys. I was wondering what would be the best strategy to earn $1,000 a month. What do you think is the initial investment needed to get there?
Okay, so if you wanted to just put it into like a savings account, which is not in crypto, because say for instance you put your money into Bitcoin and you want to lend it out and get interest from that, so 5%. So you'll need to put quite a bit of Bitcoin, like hundreds of thousands of dollars in Bitcoin to get 12 or 10%, or sorry, 5%, $1,000 a month. And so, but then you're subject to the swings of Bitcoin. Now, you do realize that if you hold crypto for over like 2 or 3 years, historically that's been amazing for you. So you will have doubled and tripled your money or whatever. And this time, I mean, Bitcoin went from 3,600 to 64,000, 20x your money. So that's way more than, $1,000 a month if you have a couple $100,000 in there. So with a stable coin, that's at right now, for USDT, you can get 9.3%. For USDC, you can get 8 point something percent. So you're going to need a couple $100,000 to do that.
Yeah.
And or like
I think for a 9% annual return to get $1,000 a month, you're going to need to get like $140,000 or $150,000. That's if that percentage is staying the same. But in all these platforms, those percentages change.
And especially during a bear market when the API will probably drop. That is why I'm saying a couple $100,000, because if it does drop from 8% to like 5%, well, there you go.
Yeah.
You're going to need to really make up for that loss of API or variable
and
API.
there's also different ways to achieve a passive income with crypto, whether it's through lending platforms, like we're always talking about BlockFi, Aave, Celsius, Nexo. I'm not necessarily endorsing all of these, but these are the options that are out there. Or there's staking coins, which isn't variable usually. It's like the emission rate or whatever is set in code. So
and you're subject to the coin's market price.
Yeah, that is also the thing. There's risks and rewards for each one. But let's say, for example, you want to stake Polkadot to get. They give out like 15% return yearly. So you'd need about $80,000 to get $1,000 a month just from that. So it really depends on, the irony here is that usually the options that offer a higher percentage are more risky, yet you need less money to achieve that $1,000 a month. And then there's the ones like, let's say, BlockFi or Celsius, these centralized platforms that give you pretty consistent, more safe, I think, way to earn a passive income, but the risk is higher because you're giving them more money.
So with BlockFi, the custody is in the hands of Gemini.
Yeah.
So that is good. They are insured, everything, so it's fine.
Yeah, and also BlockFi is like with those ties to Gemini, it's pretty heavily regulated. So we mentioned this in the last video as well, but
check out our link
I'd be
below.
highly skeptical if BlockFi ended up being an exit scam, basically. But you never know. There's no guarantees in crypto, and there's certainly been a lot of people doing funny stuff on centralized platforms throughout the years. So, yeah, it's the best way to earn $1,000 a month. It depends on how much you're willing to put up and how much risk you're willing to take on. It's gonna either way. It's probably gonna cost you, or you're gonna have to put up at least between $80,000 to like $200,000 to get $1,000 a month if you're going through the lending option.
Yeah.
Next question. Is investing in crypto a good idea for working class or poor people? The whole crypto world seems full of people who already took the benefits from investing, but the newcomers like me who can't afford to buy a lot can feel a bit intimidated by when it looks inaccessible to us, as if it was only for people who are already quite comfortable. In my opinion, you want to look at things like percentage change. Number one, you need to know that you don't need to purchase an entire coin, whatever coin it usually. If a coin is divisible by decimal points, then you can buy usually like $10 worth of a coin, $5 worth of a coin, what have you. Bitcoin, for example, can be divided by up to 8 decimals, so you can buy a very small amount of Bitcoin. But also, if you're wondering, like, if you can benefit from purchasing crypto now, and I'm really not encouraging any kind of FOMO or anything like this, I really encourage you to do your own research and get comfortable with what cryptocurrency is, why it exists, why it's important. I feel like you're going to be a lot better off buying crypto than not buying crypto in the long term, especially if it's something like Bitcoin. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. Take it or leave it. But
it was intimidating when I first got in to Bitcoin. It was, because first off, nobody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Mainstream news had never even heard of it. I don't think. Jeez, yeah, I think Max Kaiser saw it once. I talked about it a couple times, and wasn't very many YouTubers out there, and so yeah, it was really intimidating to get into Bitcoin, but if it clicked to me like this is what the world needs, and I see this as an opportunity for a lot more freedom than what I have right now, and I'm like, well, I only got one chance in life. I'm going to take advantage of it, so I did it. I didn't expect it to go $64,000. I really didn't. Like back when I first started, I thought, okay, maybe it'll go to like $5,000, maybe, and holy cow, crazy.
Also, we had a conversation with someone recently talking about their experience of considering if they should buy Bitcoin or not, and basically, it's I think a really great thing to point out, because often we're met by people who are always asking us if it's a good time to buy Bitcoin. In 2015 they're asking if it was a good time to buy Bitcoin. In 2017 they're asking if it was a good time to buy Bitcoin. In 2020 they're asking if it was a good time to buy Bitcoin, never having bought it yet. So basically, if you're asking yourself over and over again if it's a good time to buy, just buy it, because you could have bought it 5 years ago when you first asked. You know what I mean?
2013, they never asked me that.
And
they're like, what the heck is that?
Well,
I would be so happy back then if somebody asked, do you think it's a good time to buy? I'm like, yes, finally, you're my best friend.
Be my investment buddy.
Oh, you're my best friend.
But also, you can do so conservatively, right? First, enter with the amount of money that is not stressful for you to worry about, because as time moves on, it just takes time for you to become more aware of all the intricacies of how cryptocurrencies are important, and they will continue to be important because cryptocurrencies aren't going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. So if you think that you've missed the boat, you can hop on the Bitcoin boat whenever you're comfortable. But I think it's a smart thing to get some exposure to Bitcoin. And if you want to know what we think about long-term Bitcoin, let's say you bought Bitcoin at the all-time high and you want to know what the heck is your strategy, check out AMA episode 20, the one right before this one. That was the very first question that we addressed, so I encourage you guys to go for that one. Okay, next question. In terms of Bitcoin being a major force in the future and potentially being the backbone to which currencies might peg themselves against, maybe, I'm not sure I see that happening. Similar to the gold standard, can I ask what the implications of the 6 million lost Bitcoins are? The ones that have been put into hardware wallets and can never be recovered because of lost private keys, etc. Also, given a long enough time horizon and mass adoption, wouldn't a bunch more coins become lost and unrecoverable due to noob behavior and general public not understanding things when mass adoption happens? And isn't that a flaw as opposed to a benefit? Yes, it increases scarcity, but it seems almost too secure or too harsh for making mistakes. Okay.
Well, Satoshi once said, they're donating Bitcoin.
Yeah, you're contributing, again, like you said, to the scarcity of Bitcoin if you lose your Bitcoin, and you're making it, more scarce, and more valuable.
And it's great. Like, so people lose Bitcoin, okay, so there's 21 million Bitcoin out there that will ever be available. Not really. There's about 15 to 16, maybe 14 billion Bitcoin that will ever be able to be available, because the rest are lost. The rest are gone.
Yeah.
And even Satoshi's coins haven't been touched, probably never be touched. He's probably dead. That's what we think. And so, that given the supply and demand, so if the price rises for like gold, silver, or real estate, people are going to be mining more. They're going to be building more houses. So the supply is going to equal the demand, right? Whereas Bitcoin is so hard capped that the supply, it's not elastic. It can't go rise anymore. The supply can't, and that's the only asset in the world that it does that.
Yeah.
It's hard coded. It's mathematically set. So, man, you can imagine how good that's going to be for Bitcoin, because as the world just prints trillions and trillions of dollars, by unbacked quadrillions, and debt bombs around the world, like the only hard asset that you could really get is Bitcoin.
Yeah. But also this concept of, if the masses come in, the masses are going to lose all their Bitcoin. I really don't buy into that, just because of the fact most of these Bitcoin that were lost, these like 6 million, they were lost back when Bitcoin wasn't even being traded on exchanges. It was people who were mining Bitcoin. It was before Mt. Gox and all that stuff. And yes, that's why such a large amount of coins were able to be lost, because the mining rewards, the block rewards were so high that people were getting a lot of Bitcoin. It was like 100 Bitcoin per block. So, and it did, it wasn't this huge phenomena that it is now. They thought it was just a cool thing they were participating in. Who knows if it'll turn into anything one day. And a lot of people didn't respect that, didn't fully understand it or whatever, and they forgot about it. So that's how most of them were lost. It's not like 6 million are lost every year when more people come into Bitcoin. Also, to be said, is that cryptocurrencies and interacting with them is becoming much more user-friendly, incredibly more user-friendly. Wallets are more intuitive. There's some, custodian help, advice. What am I saying? Like Casa. If you look at Casa wallets and Casa custodianship solutions, that's what I was thinking of. They help educate people a lot more. Furthermore, if you've ever lost any Bitcoin, I know that you have learned an important lesson, and that you are never going to make whatever mistake that you made that first time. So it is a learning lesson. It is a cost of education in crypto, but it's not something that it's going to keep happening, I don't think. And yeah, I think I don't see it as being a huge issue but furthermore, the fact that you can't get it back, it is a love-hate relationship with this, but I love that fact, because it means that this blockchain, those coins are immutable.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it's a heavy reminder that the responsibility rests on your shoulders, where it should be, by the way. No one is going to care as much about your investment as you, and so you should take the time to educate yourself to do it correctly. Because what are you doing? Are you just going to pay someone else to do it for you or something? You know what I mean? Or just, I don't know. I think people in general have gotten really lazy, not to call out anyone or whatever, but I don't know. It's something that I guess I'm feeling a little bit strongly on right now.
Exactly.
But
I want to take care of myself. I don't need some organization taking care of me.
Autonomy and independence and freedom is very important, and it's there for you. There's so much free information online if it's just at your fingertips, if you just want to go out and pursue it. Exactly. It's really easy to do a simple web search for whatever you want to learn about. So I encourage you guys all to do that. And that's what Crypto Tips is all about. That's what our CT Club is all about. That's what my newsletter is all about. Just trying to help educate you guys and help you, navigate this crypto space like a pro. I like that little catchphrase I've come up with now. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and hit subscribe so you can get more videos like this when they come out, because they're coming out like every day.
And stay disobedient.
Yeah, and do that.
Yeah.
Not do that. Whatever. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.